Hey there, if you don't know me, my name is John Agroni. I'm the film editor for theyoungfolks.com. I also host the Cinemaholics podcast, which you can actually see the logo for right now on my hoodie because we do sell merch on our website, and yeah, check that out if you're interested. Sorry for not checking in all that much over the last week or so. I actually have not been watching a lot of new movies lately. I've just been mostly catching up on all the ones, or most of the ones, that I missed over the past year, so I can, of course, finalize my top 10 movies list of 2021. That said, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing a video covering my top movies of the year, but I do know for sure that I will be talking about them on the next episode of the Cinemaholics podcast, depending on when you are watching this. So if you can't wait, definitely check that out. So, The 355 is a new spy action film from Universal, directed by Simon Kinberg, who also co-wrote the film with Teresa Rebeck. She's probably better regarded or better known for her work as a playwright and a novelist. She has a story credit on Catwoman, I know, and she was a co-writer for Harriet the Spy. Can't forget that. And Simon Kinberg, very well known in the industry, of course. He's long been one of the driving creative voices behind the X-Men movies as both a screenwriter and a producer, going all the way back to X-Men The Last Stand, through their highs and lows: First Class, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, which of course was his first time directing a film. He also wrote Dark Phoenix, but it was his directorial debut. He was also a producer of The New Mutants, which I guess technically came out after Dark Phoenix, but it was made, I think, years before Dark Phoenix was. I don't know that for sure, but I believe that's the case. The 355, though, is Simon Kinberg's big follow-up, his sophomore film, and as a true test of his range as a feature film director, really trying to branch out of the X-Men franchise, the version of which he helped guide to its admittedly lackluster conclusion, which has all been, dismissed and, let's just say it, trashed by Disney at this point. His other major projects right now, his other major one is an Apple TV Plus series you might have heard of. It came out this past fall. It's called Invasion, which he created. He was executive producer. He wrote and directed episodes. And I actually liked Invasion a decent bit, but the show did not do super well with critics across the board. I'm not sure if it's going to get another season. And to be honest, I expect we'll probably see about the same reaction to the 355. This film, I'll say this, it certainly impresses when it comes to its cast, though less so when it comes to its mundane premise. It's about a group of female spies from different countries who have to reluctantly join forces in order to track down a device that can end the world by controlling all of cyberspace. Pretty generic. Jessica Chastain represents the American CIA. Lupita Nyong'o is a former MI6 agent. Diane Kruger is from Germany's BND, and Penelope Cruz is the wild card of the movie. She's more of an intelligence agent and a therapist from Colombia's DNI, and she has a lot less experience with all the fighting and the shooting. There's also Fan Bingbing from China's shadowy MSS. Sebastian Stan plays Chastain's longtime partner at the CIA, and Edgar Ramirez is another DNI agent who is connected to Cruz's character. So the easiest way for me to sum up this movie is maybe to point out the weird circumstances behind its release. We probably all know, right? January is well known by film critics and enthusiasts alike to be an unofficial dumping ground for studios looking to offload films they don't have much faith in, since they have to release them at some point. So why not do so in January when there's not much competition? Once in a while, you might get a breakout hit like The Upside, for example, but the general rule is to always lower your expectations for a January wide release that is not up for any awards consideration. Now, that said, in recent years, streaming services like Netflix have been really shaking up this content release system, especially when it comes to action movies made primarily for adults. We're now seeing mid-sized budget movies along these lines finding a lot of viewers, no matter what time of year it is, and that includes January. And that might have been Universal's strategy here, I want to say. The 355 is far from great or worthwhile, but if it were a Netflix film, it would probably be in their top 10 for at least 3 weeks, then rarely ever talked about again. The basic hook of the 355 is to kind of take some elements from the premise of Steve McQueen's Widows, in which a group of female underdogs take over the mission from the men and develop a found family in the process. And I also think that the result of this movie, it's a mostly functional, if not flavorless, studio blockbuster that wants to be bigger and bolder than it actually is. The film clearly takes its action movie cues from a lot of franchises you are aware of, the Mission Impossible franchise, the Jason Bourne movies, and yes, the James Bond series, which even gets mentioned at one point, though I have to say not with the same satisfying smirk as in Matthew Vaughn's first Kingsman movie. It's tough because the ingredients are certainly there to deliver a bombastic, memorable action spy film that can distract from the dog days of winter. The cast is great. I don't think these performers are phoning it in. I think they all want to be here. And I think that at times the action is certainly fine. It's functional. But the 355 is all kinetic energy without any form or insight or momentum. It rips so many styles and sentimentalities from other films. Its identity lands somewhere along the lines of pseudo parody that sadly isn't in on the joke. It's also quite a bit long. Movies like the 355 should have or 355, I keep saying that. Movies like the 355, I have to say, they should have a bone to pick with Amazon's The Boys, that anti-superhero series, because ever since that show lampooned the girls get it done trope that really persists in Hollywood, it's been harder and harder to overlook a lot of the lazy writing, at least in my opinion, permeating these action films, trying so hard, too hard, to pander as female empowerment vehicles without doing the work I think is necessary to make films like these worthy of the badass heroines on display. These films tend to play up the idea of a woman being powerful as something out of the ordinary and part of some sort of grand surprise, as if it's subversive for women to be fierce in a cinema landscape that is 35 years removed from Aliens and slightly less so from Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Now, to be clear, I want movies like this. I want action movies where incredible female actors are powerful and empowered and they take center stage. What I do not want is cheap, gimmicky writing that treats the audience of both genders like we need a lot of explanation and justification for why these women are able to, forgive me, get it done. Last note, please, screenwriters everywhere, stop invoking World War III. I beg of you, we had our fun. It's the same thing as using more than 10% of your brain gives you superpowers thing. It's just, when it comes to your movie having stakes, if you bring up World War III, your movie doesn't have stakes. It's like I see the script through the screen. Like, it's just so transparent. And I know that not everybody will probably see into that, but I know it's been overdone to the point where it's going to date this film so quickly. Maybe because World War III is just right around the corner. See, now I'm doing it. Okay. The 355, the 355, whatever it's called, opens in theaters starting January 7. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to wait until streaming, because if you're really that curious, you should just wait. Thank you as always for watching. As always, this is just my opinion. If you disagree, I'm curious why. Or if you agree, why do you think that is? I'm not sure how many people are going to see this. I expect this will be a flop, but what do I know? Movies are, it's chaos out there. I can't predict anything these days, but by all looks and accounts, I don't think this is going to be a major box office hit or anything like that. Maybe it'll be something in between. Maybe it'll be a big disappointment. Either way, I don't think the movie is very good. Next, I'm going to be hopefully talking about Scream pretty soon. I watched the film today. Shout out to a viewer of the channel and a Cinemaholics podcast listener named Brandon, who actually caught me outside of the Scream screening today. Thanks for saying hi, and it's because I wore this out, and apparently he recognized me even though I had my mask on. It was cool chatting with you for a couple minutes, and I have to admit that doesn't usually happen to me, like ever, so that was kind of cool. But otherwise, I'll be back soon to talk about a lot more films. And again, check out Cinemaholics podcast if you want even more reviews, more insight and depth and all of that stuff. I'll see you all on the next one.